much. Well, Diane, let's bring you into the news and let's have a look at what sort of society the government has helped create. Is it taking us into a better place? I would say no, but what have you got for us?
Well, thanks, Brian, and hello, Ben, and it's good to be here today. I wanted to first of all cover today of course, we know about the Supreme Court ruling recently about saying that a woman is actually a biological woman. There have been protests taking place all around the country since the ruling took place, especially over the last couple of weekends. For example, here's an article from a local paper from up here in the north, from Yorkshire. There was a protest in York over the weekend that happened on Saturday. This particular piece of propaganda called it peaceful. I heard from someone who was directly there on the ground in York on Saturday, found it very frightening. It was very large, and the people were very angry. So what I'd like to do is I found some photos of some of the signs and the things that people hold at these protests. They show these large crowds, but here's one from Edinburgh that was in this place it's a website called The Canary. That was from the 19th, saying it was to rail against a ruling that was disgraceful and far-right fueled. So that's the bias presented by The Canary. But what's actually going on when you get into the crowds and into what's actually going on? Let's take a look, for example, at this video. This is a video from Edge of the Matrix, who was with us in Cheltenham and interviewed me about the LGBTQ books that are going on in libraries around the world. And this was him having a very heated debate with someone at the Manchester protest recently.
That you're biologically male. You prove it now.
What, do you want me to get my pants down?
Yeah, I'd prove it. Even if you had a penis, it would prove that you were biologically male.
Come in.
How do you know that you have is it XY chromosomes?
XX chromosomes?
It's offensive.
Okay, well you can...
Because you are absolutely wrong.
Okay.
And you do not know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You do not live the life of a transgender male or female.
No, I don't.
You do not. So it's got nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. Whatever what this person wants to do, that person wants to do, it's got nothing to do with you. You say you want to live in a socially acceptable or free society.
Yeah.
This is a socially acceptable free society where you, whatever your beliefs, keep them to yourself. They don't impinge on what everybody else has to say about it or what to believe. That sign is so offensive to, in my opinion, most people in this country.
And of course, the punchline, which we didn't get to see in the video, but you can watch the full video on YouTube. What happened was that he found out at the end was that the man who was standing to the side of the man he was speaking with, so the younger man, was saying that was a trans man. I think that was right, but was actually... saying a trans woman, but actually a real man. Anyways, lied all the way through the debate when it turned out he was just actually a man. So that was interesting. So some of the photos that I mentioned that I wanted to show everyone here. Here's one that said the only good turf, which is trans exclusionary radical feminist, is a hung one with a drawing of a noose. So that's lovely. We have another one here. It says rot in hell Rowling. So J.K. Rowling, of course, the author of the Harry Potter books, who is very outspoken in her turfness. And another saying transphobes should have a DIY lobotomy. Here's another one saying, fix your hearts or die. And another sign next to them that's saying unions defend trans rights. Dump leaders who elected Starmer and Streeting. They must not know that Starmer said in 2023, of course, that 99.9% of women haven't got a penis, or that David Lammy said that trans women can grow a cervix. Here's one saying, you can pee next to me. This one was posted by Steph Richards. Steph Richards has a bit of a history. Steph is a biological man who has fathered children. This was at Southampton. Steph used to be the CEO of a charity called Endometriosis South Coast, which, of course, endometriosis is a women's health condition only, that only applies to women. And Steph had stepped down within about 6 months of being appointed CEO because Steph was seen as according to some people, some transphobic people didn't like the fact that a biological man was in charge of a women's health charity. So imagine that. And also, more on peeing, I would say trans demos, these activist demos, one of the things that happens is they are actually urinating in the streets. in order to make a point about not being able to go to pee in women's toilets. And a couple of other news items as well related to this agenda. Again, more about peeing, unfortunately. Earlston Primary School in the Scottish Borders has been ordered by a judge to add single-sex toilets to its new primary school building. Some of the parents were concerned that the newly built schools only had gender-neutral loos put in them, so they took them to court. And I just want to say this is one example of what we can all be doing to take action against what they're trying to do to the children in our country. Back over in the US, there's a group of Muslim, Catholic, and Ukrainian Orthodox parents in Montgomery County, Maryland. They've taken their school board to the US Supreme Court for the right to opt out their primary school age children from school curriculum containing books about transgender and homosexual agendas. The summary of the case, according to a CBS News article, and you can read the full filing as well, is that public schools are unconstitutionally burdening parents' First Amendment rights to exercise their religion freely when they require children to participate in instruction on gender and sexuality that violates the family's religious beliefs. There will be a decision made this summer, but it looks like so far the justices are siding with the parents. So that's some good news. One of the books that's under question in the case that has been brought to the Supreme Court is the book called Born Ready, The True Story of a Boy Named Penelope by Jodi Patterson. And here I would like to bring in our guest today. She's Kathy Mudge. She is the head of Protect and Teach down in Devon. And Kathy, I've interviewed previously on UK Column exposing what's going on in the schools and the curriculum of the books. And I'd like to have Kathy read an excerpt from this book. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Right, are you sitting comfortably? Pleppy, why are you so angry, Mama asks. Because everyone thinks I'm a girl. However you feel is fine, baby. It's what's on the inside that matters most. If you feel like a boy, that's okay. No, Mama, I don't feel like a boy. I am a boy. Oh, Mama gets quiet. I love you, Mama, but I don't want to be you. I want to be Papa. I don't want tomorrow to come. Because tomorrow I'll look like you. Please help me, Mama. I want to be a boy. I hold Mama's hand and transfer some of my ninja powers to help her understand. Then Mama says the best word I've ever heard. Yes, she says. We will make a plan to tell everyone we love what we know. What's that? You are a boy. For the first time, my insides don't feel like fire. They feel like warm, golden love. So,
Thanks,
there you
Kathy.
go.
Thank you. What did you think of that when you first read that?
Well, we're looking at lots of books and we haven't covered them all because there's so many. We're working our way through. So this is the first time I've seen this one. And the moment I read it, I thought this is aimed at the mother more than the child itself. It's actually grooming the mother. Actions that got me was where it said, I don't want tomorrow to come. Now that, if you ask anybody, what do you mean you don't want tomorrow to come? You're thinking of suicide, aren't you? A suicidal ideation. So the whole of this premise is based on the fact if you don't help your child change sex, they will kill themselves. This is what they've been saying all the time when there is no proof of that. Child suicide is extremely rare, and it actually shows the suicide rates are higher amongst children that have transed after they've gone through the process than before. But it means a mother will read that to their child and they'll think, oh my gosh, my child's, my little tomboy girl is going to kill herself unless I trans them and make them a boy. It's just... And it's the rejection. They've got a daughter. And instead of having a daughter who wants to dress like a boy and do boy things, they're just saying, no, you're not a boy, you're not a girl anymore. That's rejected. We're going to have a boy. Yes, we're happy. We're going to have a boy now. They're just rejecting the child's sex. It's just shocking, isn't it? It's one
It
of
certainly
many.
is. It certainly is. Yeah, it is one of many. And that's, one of the things that I would encourage viewers who have not watched our interview previously, where we called out a lot of the content that was in certain books, and that it just scratches the surface of the amount of these books that are pretty much from what I see, I occasionally go into Waterstones or WH Smith locally and look around in the children's section and the young adult section, and it all has some element of rainbows of it's okay if you don't even want to be a person. You can be a deer or a wolf if you want to. You can be whatever you want to be. And it starts, as we see, very young with these picture books, and it just gets more and more advanced and complex and in depth as we go further into the age of the child. So by the time that you're in the young adult section, you're seeing queer romances, sexual relationships, things that, and you didn't even see that. I would say when I was a child, even, a romance that for a teenager didn't have any sort of really explicit sexual content. It might have had, oh, I like this boy. Should I ask him out? Are we going to have a date? But it wasn't anything this explicit until you got into adult fiction. And I think something that's really important for us to highlight, as you will know as well, is that the age range doesn't actually indicate appropriateness of content, if that's correct, right? It's only about the reading level. Is that how you understand it as well?
Yeah, that's a big issue. They're looking at the words, and a lot of these authors have dumbed down their wording so that they'll make it acceptable for a 9-year-old. We had an 11-year-old girl who came home from school with a book about anal sex in graphic detail that was beyond my comprehension, and I'm an ex-nurse, and the wording and everything, but it was all done in very childish language, like poop was mentioned a lot. So they basically, that book has a rating for a 9-year-olds plus because of the vocabulary in it. It's rated by the publisher. The people that are writing these books get them printed. If you wrote a child's book now without including LGBTQ stuff, so like having a gay child or a trans child or a child questioning their gender, you just wouldn't get it published. We know that from authors that have contacted us having trouble getting things printed. The publishers themselves get kudos for sending the school LGBTQ material. We often find it's packaged up, so they'll be sending a school like history books, geography books, and they'll include a whole load of LGBTQ books as well. It's a massive number that you're dealing with. In a school, you'll maybe have 13 different titles on a topic that I think probably could be covered by 1 or 2 books. They'll do shelves of these books on particular days like Pride Month and Transgender Day of Remembrance. They'll have a display out, rainbows everywhere, which attracts the children in. The books are attractive as well. Today, for example, I've had a few things in my inbox. One was a new book that's just out for toddlers, and it's all of the letters of the alphabet. An A is for activist, and it's a picture of a baby with its fist in a clenched fist position. That's a book for today. And T, of course, is for trans and trains. So that's a new book that we've had as well. And you're talking, a lot of this stuff also comes from groups. So we found LGBTQ groups in schools pushing this agenda, which brings us back some of the 2 groups you named earlier, which was the Esme Fairbank Foundation has been funding a lot of this in schools, and the Pears Foundation. They're on our list of groups that pay for this to happen.
Thanks, Kathy. We'll come back to you a bit later in the news. And I'm just watching Brian. His face is just falling as he's listening to what we've just covered.
Thank you both very much for that. Well, my face was also following comments in the UK column chat box, which is running live as this news is going out, and people were shocked, absolutely shocked at the report, and they're deeply concerned about these driven changes in society, which are clearly heavily focused on young people, children, because obviously if children can be changed, then the state gains total control of the future. We must stay on this subject in future news programs, but yes, extremely concerning to the average person.